Alright, hi everyone. It is me, Sailor Moon Serena here. And it's me, Sailor Mars, Sailor Red World Ray here. And today we're going to talk about worship in Sailor Moon. Now, I know a lot of folks who watch Sailor Moon are going to say, oh, worship doesn't have anything to do with it. But two worships tend to be shown in Sailor Moon, even though I am under the belief that there are many other worships there. Now, the first worship that tends to come up is Shintoism, which I'm not going to say I know a lot about, because I don't. You know, I know enough that Ray tells me about, but I don't know enough to really give my talk about. But in Shintoism, it seems that they worship more than one god, and that they have oversights about how you can go in a worship house, what you can do, what you can't do, things like that, you know. And a lot of folks ask me if I have to follow those oversights. Well, I do show onlook to raise worship, or onlook to worship enough, to at least be onlooking, even if I don't follow the worship. And this worship tends to show itself because we always go to Ray's, worship house for a lot of meetings. Now I know in the books it was the I don't know, the run room or the oversight room or the hidden room underneath the game middle. But in the Sona drawing show, Ray's worship house takes the stead of that. And Ray tends to show her worship many ways when she asks the Great Fire about things, and then God either shows her likenesses in the fire, sometimes of good things, but sometimes of bad things, but mostly good things. And yeah. Now, a lot of folks will say, yeah, that Shintoism, or whatever you want to call it, happens to be the Reich worship, that the worship that many folks follow, that he's in the Kaiserreich kin happens to follow, or at least be the head of, and sometimes. And that may have been why it was offshooted in. Now, we also bring up, Christendom, because that does come up in Sailor Moon. When me and Molly and Malvin when Molly first meets a worship elder after Nephilim dies, and he tells her that as long as he keeps her in her heart, him in his heart, she'll never lose him. And tells her that her friends were with her, so she's not truly alone, and she also has God and Jesus with her too. Now keep in mind, he also was a rainbow heart holder, didn't know about it, and Zoisite ended up taking the rainbow hearts from him, which freed the fiend, which was inside of that rainbow heart, the rainbow Hearst, I guess, and the fiend took over him. But God and Jesus working through me casted the fiend out that Lucifer had take over him. And it's not the only time, because also the next time it comes up is in the fourth following, when you have Tiger's Eye go after a holy woman, because he believes she might have Helios in her dreams. Yeah. So Christendom does come up at least 2 times in Sailor Moon. Hell, it comes up even in the 5th one, when one of the worship elders that works for Ray's Learn is also Sunlights as a film overseer for one of the Free Lights films that they're working on. Yeah, you're right, Serena. I mean, Christendom was first brought to Dawnland from Christendom folks from Portuguese land, And a lot of folks do belong to the worship. I don't know how many folks belong to it, but folks do belong to it. And yes, Sintonism being the right worship, but in Dawnland we do have the freedom of worship, so we can choose which worship to follow, which arm of that worship to follow, or not to follow any worship at all. And I do go to a Christendom Learn. TG, I guess, yes, Learn for Girls. So it will lead you into knowing that I'm a Christendom, but then I work at a Sintoist worship house, which my grandfather owned, in which, and he means well, but he means well, but the way that Deke had him behave was a little more greater to deal with than how Toei would have made him behave, or how Viz would have made him behave. But he's always ran it for many years, and sadly when he died, I ended up taking over ownership and prolonging the worship house. And it's true that the many Sintu folks believe in many gods and goddesses, and there's all these oversights of how one can come in, what one can do, and how one shows their onlook and worship. And Serena is right. Even if you belong to another worship, you should at least have onlook for other folks' worships too. And as far as Christendom goes, yeah, it does happen. It does come up due to a holy elder having a rainbow hearse, which Zoisite gets from him. Tiger Eye going after a a worship woman, which he believes Pegasus Helios got to be in her dreams. I don't know why. And one of my teachers, who Sunlights as a film overseer for the Free Lights. And a lot of folks are going to say, yeah, that's lifelike. Those two are the two big worships in Dawnland. Yeah, and they were put in there because a lot of folks, fought a lot of folks who worked on there, maybe even they put those worships in there for whatever ground sake or why. Yeah. So why do you think worship in Sailor Moon? Why do you think Christendom and Sintonism were the two worships that were shown in Sailor Moon? No need if it was either Deke or Viz, and how they went by handling them. I'll see you later.